All right. And we are live now. How exciting. So, I'm really excited tonight. This is the first of our series that we're going to be doing to teach mom entrepreneurs how to be able to run their businesses better and more efficiently. And for our first guest this evening, we have Miss Eileen Cotter. Eileen, can you share a little bit about what you do?
Hi, I'm Eileen. I live in Boston, and right now I'm a freelance writer. I focus mostly on internet content, different sorts of articles, mostly in the travel industry, but I also branch out to newspapers and magazines.
Exciting. So, Eileen, tell me a little bit about how you got started freelancing because when I found your profile online, I thought it was really interesting and unique. Tell us a little bit about that
Sure.
story.
Sure. Well, I bounced all over the place after college. I had a journalism degree, and then I ended up at a content marketing firm. It was very interesting. I learned a lot about the idea of writing things online to drive traffic to websites, was a whole other thing because I was traditionally trained for newspapers. So it was great for a while, and I learned a lot about SEO, which is search engine optimization. It's putting keywords into different stories that you will upload on different clients' websites. But my schedule was very demanding. I wrote about 20 stories a day,
Wow.
about 4,000 words a day.
Wow.
So I definitely got thrown right in, but it was good. It taught me a lot of skills. But the more and more I developed, I realized, obviously in a firm or like that, a lot of people take a percentage. So I was only making about 15% of what they were actually paying for the stories. So I had always talked to different people, and they said, do you ever do projects on the side? Your writing's really great, and we'd love to work with you. And I just had no time. I wrote 12, 14 hours a day. I wish I could take on side projects. And a light bulb went off one day while I was at the office at 10 o'clock, and I thought, I can do this myself. So that's what I started to do.
Oh,
And it's been going pretty well so far.
good, good. So now here's where you started getting into the juicy stuff. So you started talking about working for a content management agency.
Hmm.
And if you're doing that type of work, I can only imagine that your learning curve was it shot through the roof, I'm betting, in those first couple of months. So talk to us. You're a traditionally trained writer. You're thinking about, getting started in working online. You start working with this agency. So what are advice that you have for newbies who are out there, people who want to get started, who know that online is obviously the place to be, and you clearly are the person to learn from because if you were spending that much time and had that many words per day,
I
wow.
mean, yeah, that was definitely a huge launching point. It really launched me into freelancing because I think over the course of working there a year and a half, I had over 5,000 articles written.
Wow.
So obviously, not all of them were fantastic, but enough where my portfolio was pretty much already made for me. So that was definitely a help. However, if you are starting and you don't work for a company like that, there's so many outlets out there online where you can build your portfolio yourself. It is a little time consuming at first, but I started that way interning for online magazines and, got paid a couple dollars here or there, but that's what's gotten me the jobs is
Nice.
having presence online and being able to anything they ask me, do you write about marketing? Do you do travel? Do you do education? And I say, yep, I have everything.
Excellent.
So, if you can get your feet wet in everything, and it's very easy when you start out. I don't know if I can mention specific websites, but there's a lot of just content websites of free. The new big thing is the newspapers online where they're kind of they're hyper local.
Okay.
So they're just looking for people. These websites are trying to generate ad interest. So they're looking for people to just write things about. They know what they do every day. What's your favorite restaurant? What's your favorite place to go have a drink? What's your favorite park to go for a run? And
Nice.
you can do that off the top of your head. If
Sure.
you're a good storyteller and you can put a sentence together, you can do that very easily. And that's, a great stepping stone to get started in the industry.
Sweet. That seems like a really good starting place. So now talk to me about, I'm sure you saw mistakes all the time, every day, all day, in terms of requests you got from clients, in terms of information that's online, or even some of the articles you mentioned that, weren't necessarily your pride and joy articles. So talk to us. What are some of the mistakes that you see that people make when it comes to SEO?
Well, having, no matter what industry you're in and whatever, you decide to pursue, trying to build up your website with this kind of strategy, really knowing what you're talking about is really key. And that goes for writers and businesses. It's not that complicated. It's pretty simple. There's programs now that let you, you can just get a list of all the big words that people are searching for on Google, and you can just use that, free of charge, which is great. And they have tutorials and all sorts of things online. But what I find is that a lot of, clients, some clients are old school and they like to, they have a certain direction that they really want to go in. But, if they know they have a good writer, they should trust the writer, which is important. But also on the other side, you have to be flexible as well. So it is a give and take. I don't know. What I find is one of the biggest mistakes too is, of course, they want to saturate the market. A lot of my clients, they would do contracts for maybe 50 articles a month, which is pretty standard. So that's good, but you have to make sure that your writer is making sense, because it's just like junk food or spam if you're not going to, invest the time or the money into actually putting up readable things. You or I aren't going to read something that doesn't make any sense and isn't relevant, no matter how fast and how cheap it was written. So I find that to be a mistake with a lot of clients. But, if they're successful, they learn fast and they realize, it's worth the investment up front and it's worth the time. And it really, reflects back to the kind of audience that they're appealing to.
Definitely.
So. Mm-hmm.
Good deal. You said two things that are going to stand out for me personally of, looking for those free keywords and finding those sites that offer the list of keywords and making sure that you've embedded those. And then I think, one thing that I've always wondered is kind of for a freelance writer, what's a good number of articles that, that entrepreneurs should be asking writers to be able to look at. So just hearing the 50, that actually makes sense, because you could obviously develop a really solid brand. You would have a good rapport with that particular writer. They would know your website pretty well. You would obviously understand the style and what works and things like that. The 50 actually makes a lot of sense.
Yeah, and consistency is very important. If somebody lands on your website and you haven't written anything in 3 weeks, they're most likely not going to stay. Right. Because they don't think you're in tune and you're connecting. So, the articles don't have to be long. They can be 200 words, which is 3 short paragraphs. And, if you're putting up one or two a day, it really keeps you engaged with your audience and your potential client base.
Definitely. Now, this puts now a whole new spin on the strategy you need to have on content management. My head is now spinning and reeling, thinking.
It's an exciting industry, and to think I just learned about it a year ago, it's mind-boggling. There's a lot out there for writers these days if you just ride the wave.
I'm sure. And now you have emphasized even more so why we need to hire folks like you, because clearly an entrepreneur should not be spending all of their time trying to produce all of this content on top of all the other services that they provide. So right. Talk to me. Who are the clients right now that you're looking for? And if someone was interested in reaching you, how could they reach you?
Well, again, my specialty is travel. I have traveled a lot, and I like to write. A lot of people do hire writers who either aren't specialized or don't quite know, exactly. And you, if you're smart, you can definitely research and work around that. But I love travel, and I also do a lot of education stories. I'm formally educated, and I've been through the system, and I can do that. But
nice.
I mean, it's unbelievable. Right now, I'm writing for a company that does balloon sculptures, and that's been fun.
Okay.
And I've written for a marketing blog, and I've written for, gosh, I can't even, it all swims around in my head, but I really am a jack of all trades. And most writers are. Good ones are. It doesn't matter if they say, listen, I have a blog about rocket science. You say, okay, give me a day and let's see what I can do for you.
Excellent. Excellent. And I think that probably is one of the key things that I like to say about freelancers is there's a lot of things that you need to focus on with your business, and without hesitation, what you love is key, but also figuring out what the market's looking for, and clearly you are definitely doing that. Good deal,
Well, yeah,
good deal.
you got to pay the bills. You definitely have to do what you love, or then you're going to not have a good time. And that's what it's all about. You know, I did this so that I could focus and take some clients that I was really interested in, and it's opened big doors for me. But, you know, I also have been learning and taking some more challenging ones too, so that I keep fresh in the industry.
Good deal, good deal. So Eileen, I would love to be able to invite you back a couple months from now or even a year from now and see how business is going for you and hear all the great success stories that have happened and any client stories that you can share with us that'll have us on the floor laughing as we all relate to those crazy clients.
Yeah.
But in the interim, if any of our listeners want to reach out to you, can you share your Twitter handle and your website address for us?
Sure. And again, if you want to write, make sure you're all over online. So I'm everywhere. My Twitter handle is a little complicated. It's a Spanish word called guapetona. It's Guaptonah.
Love it.
But
And
I need to get a simpler one than that.
Why?
But that's that.
No. Why'd you choose it?
But I'm also on LinkedIn
Nice.
as Eileen Cotter. I think I'm the only one. So, and I'm listed as a freelance writer, so you can find me on LinkedIn, which is also a great resource. And gosh, and I'm on there's a bunch of freelancing websites if you're looking for that kind of work. If you're looking for contractors, it's called Elance, elance.com, and my profile's up on there as well.
Good deal, good deal. Well, Eileen, thank you for sharing these incredible tips. I think I've learned a couple of things about what makes for good SEO. I definitely now realize if I want to work with a writer, I want to get about a good 50 articles a month. I love the idea of finding writers that are focused in an industry, but I beyond appreciate the jack of all trades. So that is exciting. So you'll have to share with us your upcoming travel at the next time that we speak, and we'll hear about all the cool places you've been to and all the good stuff that's happening with your business.
Sounds great. It's been a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Likewise. Thanks again. And just for everyone to know, feel free to check out our blog at momanddaughtersinc.com. Thanks so much.
Thanks.